This is a diagram. You can see in the bottom there. The bottom of the picture there is Alana's room. According to the story, she climbed into this bathroom window. So in the top corner, in the top left corner there, is the victim's room. Alana was locked out of her apartment that night and basically climbed in through a window at like 3 o'clock in the morning, the bathroom window, which is what they suspect was the same window that the assailant used to break in to the premises. And she was in her room. Alana goes to her room and supposedly might have even wiped the guy's fingerprints off with her clothing. I think the way they tell the story, that she basically, as she's climbing through the window, so her clothing is smearing along the window ledge and wiping off his fingerprints. She goes to her room, and at some point later thereon, she goes into the victim's room looking for the victim to wakes up, tell him to move his car, that's the he part that's weird to me, because every time when she's telling the story, it's like to tell him to move his car. So maybe it is a guy. I don't even know. But then other times they say, fortunately, she survived. I can't figure out who this victim is. We don't know the name of the victim. I'm not speculating anything about that. And I don't really care. A victim is a victim. The bottom line, when Alana's telling this story over, she says that she remembers this pungent smell and saw the victim's, like the roof of the victim's, the tongue of the victim's, like stuck to the roof of the mouth, and thought that the victim choked on their own vomit, and went to call 911. Calls 911 and says, my roommate choked on their own vomit. And when they come in there, they see the place is covered in blood. And Alana says that until they used the word, like one of them said, oh my God, there's so much blood, that until they said that someone made a comment in front of her that there's so much blood, she didn't see any of the blood. This is a very weird thing. I mean, like, she didn't see, it was like supposedly like the mattress was like 3/4 soaked with blood, and there's just blood everywhere. It looked like a bloodbath. They can't even imagine how the victim survived just from a loss of blood. So much blood everywhere. But her brain went into such shock when she went in there that it's almost that her eyes and brain did not register that there was blood. Which is why when she calls 911, she's calling there because in her brain, her roommate has choked on their own vomit rather than the victim of a terrible attack. It's crazy how the brain works. It's crazy how the brain works. And she's finding herself in the news now. She's actually inserting herself into the news now, sticking up for Dylan and saying the way the mind works when it's dealing with this sort of thing, can't really pass judgment. You can't really pass judgment on that because your brain, you don't know how your brain will react when you find yourselves in that kind of trauma. So, but the fascinating thing about this woman, to me, what's really ponderous, like really mysterious about this woman, very mysterious. And I'm not saying this trying to insinuate anything about her at all. I'm really not insinuating anything at her at all. This is just like, what a weird life. So that's her experience in 1992. She's in the news for discovering this, and everyone is just like, how do you not see blood there? Like, everyone was just like astonished at the time, like, how do you not see blood? And she's like, I didn't see any blood. And I think this is the proper term, fugue state dissociation. And I'm not casting judgment on that at all, nor am I casting judgment on Dylan. But I'm, at the same time, we're all sort of baffled by the way the brain works without like casting judgment and saying there's something wrong with you or there's something dishonest or lacking integrity based on what happened here based on how your brain reacted. It's just like sort of noting just like how weird the human mind can be. I guess it's like a protective mode. Same way someone faints when their brain can't process things.